Felicia was a fighter, an optimist, a fantastic teacher, mentor, and friend. She was loyal. I would sit in her office for hours and talk about everything with her because she was curious about everything. I sat in her office and cried when my husband left me. I sat in her office and cried when my dog died. She would pass publication opportunities on to me long after I was her student. We spent many Thanksgivings at her house where we would talk and laugh. I got married at her house. I can't imagine going on campus with Felicia not there anymore, not knowing that I can't go to her office and leave a note or stop by or hunt her down at one of her classes. There's going to be a big hole there. Today I was thinking about all the things I can't do anymore because Felicia's not around. Can't email her anymore. I can't send her wolf-themed presents anymore. I can't guest lecture for her courses. There's a space for this tremendous personality that's gone now, is never going to be refilled. But I always hear her voice, and I always will remember the way she would sit in a chair. She's in my head whenever I teach. I want to live up to her standards. I want to see my students the way she saw them, and I want to keep reading the weird books and writing the weird papers that she promoted. And dead or alive, Felicia, you were and will always be my friend, and I will always love you very much.
Hi, this is Doug Unger. I'm a colleague of Felicia's from the English department for 29 years, and just want to say how deeply sorry and sad I am that Felicia's gone. We did a lot together, and I don't know how best to describe what a fighter she was, what an advocate she was, how engaged she was with so much that was going on our campus. I'm the current UNLV chapter president of the Nevada Faculty Alliance, and of course Felicia was the pioneer in bringing Nevada Faculty Alliance to our campus as a part of that lawsuit that she carried on with the university on behalf of women's rights and equal pay for women with the support of the AAUP. She was always interested in faculty rights and preserving the rights of faculty and fighting for those rights. Gender equity in our department, which was a 2 decades long struggle to perhaps now achieve, although, it's uncertain whether we really have, but certainly we've moved in that direction. I talked with her a lot about ethnic studies too. She was teaching Asian American writing and African American writing, and I was part of a group that was putting together Latinx studies. We talked a lot about how that should work and how women's studies should work. We were constantly co-conspiring on how to make the department better, and also on individual students, who was who, what was what they were interested in. And she was saying, get your students involved in the Popular Culture Conference, and so many of them presented their first papers and did their first readings. And I like to describe Felicia as a co-conspirator. I considered her my co-conspirator for 29 years on projects for the benefit of all. And certainly we talked about funding and how to get it, how to approach our chairs, how to approach the dean. Her knowledge of the personalities around our campus was vast, and she could always kind of wisely direct me to the right people. And then later on, I tried to do the same. And certainly, I considered her a friend, and I think she considered me a friend in the department too. It was great also when we disagreed about something, the kinds of conversations and debates in her office or mine that we would have. She was so beloved by our students, offering them what was contemporary and what was new. I can't say enough about how much I'll miss her presence, and her comments, her sharp, witty takes on everything in our environment that made the day pass so much better and with so much more energy almost every time that we ran into one another, talked to one another, or visited with one another. I just know that I'll miss my friend in the department for 29 years. I'm sorry she's gone, and for several days I've been thinking about, COVID took her away. How terrible that is. And then I thought, she was so with it, with popular culture, so in tune with everything that was going on in the culture, chaos theory, embracing what was happening in the now. And so, of course, it's what's happening now. And she would be a part of that. I'll miss her, and I know you'll all miss her more, but thank you for Felicia's presence in my life, and in the lives of my colleagues and in the life of our university.
Hi, my name is Kylie, and I was one of Professor Campbell's students. Wow, there's so much to say. I don't really know where to begin. Professor Campbell was amazing. She was so brilliant, but fierce. She was probably one of the strongest women I have ever known. She taught me, she was my mentor, and she taught me so much in the classroom and outside of the classroom about life. And I think I took almost every single one of her classes except for one, because that's how much of an amazing educator she was. Mind you, I am not even an English major, so I just kept taking her classes because I learned so much. I don't, now that I think about it, I don't think I've quite even grasped what it's going to be like without her, without being able to just, she allowed me to just pop in her office whenever I needed, and I wish she got to know to the extent of how influential she was to my life. I don't think she ever got to really understand that. But anyway, last night I was laying in bed and I was thinking about what I wanted to share in this video, and I looked over my shoulder and I noticed something, so I wanted to share that. So check this out. Mind you, again, not an English major, not a huge reader, but see this stack of books? This is my nightstand. Ignore the dust. But see this stack of books? These are all Dr. C books. So these are all books that she used in her classroom or that she recommended I read. And yeah, it's the only ones I own. Actually, in fact, okay, so this actually belongs to her, and I've been putting in emails forever that I was going to return it to her. But if you've ever taken a Dr. C class, you've ever watched this movie. Anyway, she will be ridiculously missed, but never forgotten, especially in this household.
It is really hard to think about where my life and my trajectory, my career trajectory would be without Dr. Campbell. I now have 2 books in Asian American Studies and 2 novels that are thinking about the overlaps of Asia and America and mixed race and things like that. And Dr. Campbell's class was the first class I ever took that had those themes in it. She was the first professor I ever had that ever taught any Asian American literature, really any literature from Asia, and did it through a feminist perspective, and one that was also open to speculative fiction and other forms of creative writing. And so even though I did not have any of that kind of literature and ideas growing up, in high school at least, and in my first year of college, I was very thankful that my introduction to it came from Dr. Campbell. So I was able to start believing that this literature already had a kind of feminist bent to it, and I was able to absorb everything through her eyes and her point of view from the beginning. And so it's very hard for me to understate how important she was as a thinker and as a human being for me. I know she's meant the same or more to a lot of her students, and she continued to be gracious ever since I met her. She was supportive of everything I did. After I left UNLV and decided to travel abroad and get my doctorate at the University of Washington, I could always follow her on social media, and she would keep up with what I was doing and just be there and be present and be supportive. And then when my first book came out, she invited me to UNLV to give a talk, and offered to have the book reviewed. And it's again, you can't understate just how powerful that is, not only as a beginning, but as a thorough line through everything that I do. And so she lived a very amazing life, and I hope that as we all continue to grow, we can keep her in our thoughts and in our memories.
I first met Felicia a couple of years ago when I took over as director of the Asian and Asian American Studies program. And, she was so incredibly generous with her time and with her energy, offering to meet, and even though she couldn't meet beyond FDH, she still wanted to meet just to give, and share her institutional memory and her memory of the program and building and developing the program over the years. And so even though I had known about Felicia for quite some time, I didn't really get a chance to know her until I took over as director. And, she became one of my most favorite people pretty quickly. And, soon I was, being invited, and she was inviting me to give guest lectures in her Asian lit class. And, I'm not a literary scholar, but, I think she just really valued my work and wanted her students to meet and engage with faculty of color on campus. And so I was always appreciative of Felicia for that. And then we became Facebook friends, and, you all know the kind of stuff that she posted. She became my favorite person really, really quickly then. I just realized and recognized that not only was she committed to a kind of radical feminist politics and was willing to actively fight for justice and equity, but she was also committed to anti-racist work and to challenging white supremacy. And so her Facebook posts demonstrated that and made it clear to me that she was committed to that work. And I'm gonna miss Felicia for all of those things, but I'm really gonna miss the time I got to spend with her when I would guest visit and guest lecture in her Asian lit class, because that's where I really got to know Felicia. That's where I really got to talk to her and to see just how sharp and funny and just incredibly vibrant she really was. And I'm thankful for that time that I got to spend with her. So Felicia, I just want to say that I'm really going to miss you. I'm really going to miss our conversations. I'm going to miss guest lecturing in your courses. But I am really thankful that we got to exchange an email a couple of months ago, right as COVID hit. And, I didn't know obviously that it was going to be our last email, but, I'm glad that I was able and felt compelled to tell you how grateful that I was that, we got a chance to work closely together these last couple of years. And so I'm forever grateful for that. I'm forever grateful for you. And I'm glad that we got to spend some time on this earth together. And wherever you are, I hope that you are, in peace and at peace, finding joy. And, we are all going to miss you. Your students are going to miss you. And take care wherever you are, Felicia.
Hi, Felicia. Claudia Keelan. Talking to you from my backyard where I've been for about 5 months since the coronavirus. That horrific thing that took you from us has been raging, and we're all relegated to our own homes and lands, as they say, or sidewalks. I think of all the people that I've known in universities in my lifetime, that you are the best example of somebody who lived through it and in it and with it on her own terms. And you as an example helped me stand up for myself in ways that I didn't really imagine I could when I first came to this profession. Your bravery, your in-your-face attitude often, your honesty helped me, I know my generation, and I know many other generations, to see the possibilities of what it could be to be your own self in a place that somehow often is commanding some kind of conformity. And I thank you so much for your example. I see it too in your family, and Tracy and her children, Max, who bear so much of your independence and beauty of spirit. You live in them, and you live in me in a large way for the 22 years that I've known you. And I'm going to miss you very much. I think you are gone too soon. And in terms of what I want to thank you for, also, I'd like to thank you for calling the meeting, every meeting, for adjournment. You saved so many blessed minutes of my life and everyone's by doing so. And if you go, wherever we go when we leave this place, to where Robert, who of Robert's Rules of Orders is, please just adjourn the meeting for good and tell him to go somewhere else. I think he could use that advice. I'm going to miss you so much. Love you. Safe passage, dear sister.